Ladies and gentlemen, let me begin with a strange question. What if the very thing keeping you alive is also quietly, patiently, inevitably tearing you apart? Take a slow breath. Go on. I'll wait. That breath feels innocent, doesn't it? Cool air in, warm air out. Life, freshness, relief. We are told from childhood that air is life, and that's true. Without it, you last a few minutes. With it, you live decades. But here's the curious twist. The same oxygen that allows your body to produce energy is also slowly damaging the machinery that keeps you alive. It's like owning a beautiful fireplace in your living room. It keeps you warm, it lets you cook, it makes your home comfortable. But tiny sparks from that fire are constantly landing on the carpet. Most of them burn out, some leave tiny marks. Over years, those marks add up. Now I want you to imagine something even stranger. 3 billion years ago, oxygen was poison. On the early Earth, life existed without it. Simple organisms floated in the oceans, minding their own quiet business. And then something revolutionary happened. Tiny cells began releasing oxygen as waste. Waste. To them, oxygen was garbage. And it nearly wiped out life on Earth. This event is sometimes called the Great Oxidation Event. It was one of the first global disasters caused by pollution. Except the polluters were microscopic organisms. They flooded the atmosphere with oxygen, and most existing life could not survive it. So the air you are breathing right now was once a deadly toxin. Now that's interesting. Life adapted. Evolution is clever. Some organisms figured out how to use oxygen instead of being destroyed by it. They turned poison into power. And that is the story of you. Inside your cells are tiny structures called mitochondria. They are like little power plants. They take oxygen and combine it with food molecules to produce energy. That energy powers your thoughts, your movements, your heartbeat, your laughter. It's a brilliant system. But here is the catch. Using oxygen is a little like running a car engine. When gasoline burns inside an engine, it produces power. But it also produces exhaust, heat, friction, wear and tear. Your cells are running billions of microscopic engines every second. And oxygen is the fuel that makes them run hot. When oxygen is used to extract energy from food, it doesn't always behave perfectly. Sometimes it becomes unstable. It forms what scientists call reactive oxygen species. Now that sounds technical. Imagine oxygen as a polite guest at a party. Most of the time it shakes hands, has conversations, behaves nicely. But occasionally it gets rowdy, it bumps into things, knocks over furniture, breaks a glass. These rowdy oxygen molecules are extremely reactive. They steal electrons from nearby molecules, and when they do that, they damage them. Proteins can be damaged. Cell membranes can be damaged. Even DNA can be nicked, scratched, altered, not in dramatic, explosive ways, in tiny ways, but tiny repeated damage over decades becomes aging. Let me say that again in a different way. Every breath you take gives you life in this moment. And every breath you take contributes a microscopic amount of wear and tear. It is not dramatic, it is not evil, it is not malicious. It is simply the cost of running the engine. Think of a candle. A candle shines because it burns. The flame is beautiful, it gives light, it gives warmth. But the candle cannot shine without slowly disappearing. Life, in a way, is combustion, not a raging fire, a controlled one. A beautifully regulated burn happening inside trillions of cells. And the byproduct of that burn is damage. Now here's where it gets fascinating. Your body is not helpless. It has repair systems. It has antioxidants. It has enzymes that patrol your cells like maintenance crews, fixing dents and repainting scratched walls. If oxygen were pure chaos, we wouldn't survive childhood. But the balance is delicate. Damage happens. Repair happens. Damage happens. Repair happens. For a while, repair keeps up. In youth, your body is like a brand new car under warranty. Scratches are buffed out, parts are replaced. Everything runs smoothly. But over time, the repairs are not perfect. A little error here, a small scar there, a misfolded protein, a mutation. The accumulation is slow, so slow that you don't notice it year to year. But compare a child's skin to an elderly person's skin. Compare reaction time, healing speed, memory sharpness. Something has changed, and oxygen is part of that story now, I must be honest, in the spirit of scientific curiosity. Aging is complicated. It is not caused by oxygen alone. There are many factors: Genetics, environment, random chance. But oxidative damage, damage caused by oxygen's reactive behavior, is one of the central players. And that means something astonishing. The thing that powers your consciousness right now is inseparable from the process that will one day end it. You cannot separate the flame from the melting wax. You cannot separate metabolism from aging. Isn't that poetic? Let's think even more deeply. Why does oxygen behave this way? Oxygen is chemically eager. It wants electrons. It wants to react. That eagerness is why it releases energy when combined with food. That eagerness is also why it sometimes damages cells. In other words, the very property that makes oxygen useful makes it dangerous. This is a pattern in nature. Speed makes cars efficient and dangerous. Fire makes civilization possible and cities flammable. Electricity powers hospitals and can electrocute. Power and risk are twins. Life made a bargain long ago. Use oxygen, gain enormous energy, move faster, think deeper, grow larger, but accept long-term instability. If you compare oxygen-based life to anaerobic life, life that does not use oxygen, you'll find something curious. Some oxygen-avoiding organisms can live in extreme environments. They are slow, simple, but resilient. Oxygen-based life like us is energetic, complex, intelligent, but fragile. We burn brighter, but we burn. And now I want you to notice something personal. You are breathing unconsciously right now. You do not negotiate with oxygen. You do not measure each molecule. You simply trust the air. Yet every inhale is a reminder that life is not static. It is a process, a dynamic, unstable dance. There is no permanent state called being alive. There is only ongoing chemical activity. You are not a solid object. You are a flame in a very complicated lamp. Cells die and are replaced. Atoms are swapped out. The oxygen you breathe today was once inside trees, oceans, dinosaurs, volcanoes. Think about that. The oxygen atom entering your lungs right now may have once been part of a fern in the Jurassic period. It may have drifted through the atmosphere for millions of years before arriving in your bloodstream. And now it participates in your metabolism. It helps fire neurons in your brain so you can understand these words. And in doing so, it leaves behind tiny scars. There's a profound lesson here. Life is not about avoiding damage. Life is about managing damage. You cannot choose to stop breathing. You cannot choose to stop metabolizing. To live at all is to accept gradual change. Sometimes people ask, can we eliminate aging? Can we remove oxidative stress entirely? But if you removed all oxygen reactivity, you would remove the energy that powers you. It's like asking for a car engine that produces no heat, no friction, no exhaust, no wear, but still runs. The laws of physics do not allow perfection without cost. Every process increases disorder somewhere. Your body is constantly fighting disorder, and oxygen is both ally and adversary in that fight. Now let's widen the lens. On a cosmic scale, stars burn hydrogen into helium. They shine by consuming themselves. Eventually, the fuel runs low. The sun is not eternal. It glows because nuclear reactions are happening inside it. Those reactions sustain life on Earth, but they also guarantee that one day the sun will change. Energy release and eventual transformation are inseparable. You are a miniature star. You shine in thought, in motion, in love, because chemical reactions are happening. And those reactions slowly change you. If that sounds frightening, pause for a moment. Is it destruction or is it participation? Every breath connects you to the planet. Oxygen cycles through forests, oceans, and lungs. The same chemistry that ages you also connects you to every living thing. Oxidation is not an enemy plotting your demise. It is the mechanism that allows complexity to exist. Without oxygen, large brains would not evolve, muscles would not sustain marathon runners. Civilization might not arise. So here's the paradox. Oxygen shortens your life in one sense, but makes your kind of life possible in the first place. Would you trade intensity for duration? Would you choose to live 1,000 years as a slow, simple organism in a dark ocean vent? Or 80 years as a thinking, dreaming human capable of art and science? Life chose for you. End evolution is pragmatic, not sentimental. It optimizes for reproduction and survival long enough, not immortality. The system works just well enough. Now, of course, we can influence the balance. Nutrition, exercise, sleep, these support repair systems. Antioxidants in food help neutralize some reactive oxygen species. Avoiding pollution reduces extra oxidative stress. But even in a perfectly clean mountain environment, breathing pristine air, the fundamental chemistry remains. You are burning, slowly. Beautifully, I find this strangely comforting, because it means aging is not a mistake, it is physics. It is chemistry unfolding over time. When you see wrinkles forming, or hair turning gray, or energy shifting, you are witnessing entropy negotiated through biology. And yet, here you are, aware, conscious, capable of understanding the very process that limits you. That is extraordinary. The universe has arranged atoms in such a way that they can study their own oxidation. Think about that. Oxygen flows through neurons, helps generate electrical impulses, supports thought, and those thoughts include reflections on oxygen itself. It's like a candle analyzing its own flame. There is humility in that, and also wonder. So when you breathe tonight, perhaps you will feel something different. Not fear, but appreciation. Appreciation that life is dynamic, not static. That vitality and vulnerability are inseparable. That power and fragility coexist in the same molecule. The air is not slowly destroying you in a dramatic villainous sense. It is slowly transforming you, moment by moment, breath by breath. And in that transformation, you laugh, you build, you love, you ask questions. Perhaps the goal is not to defeat the chemistry. Perhaps the goal is to use the flame wisely while it burns. Because one day, like all flames, it will go out. Not abruptly, perhaps, but gradually. And the atoms will disperse back into the great atmospheric cycle, to be breathed again by forests, by children, by creatures not yet born. So I leave you with this thought. If the very air that sustains you also carries the seeds of change, then every breath is both gift and cost. Every inhale says, I choose to participate, and that to me is magnificent. Take another breath, feel it. That is life happening, right now. Beautiful, fragile, temporary, and utterly astonishing.